You wouldn't just leave a wad of cash on your coffee table for anyone to grab, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
You'd tuck it away somewhere safe. Well, when you're dealing with Bitcoin, it's kind of the same principle, really.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. Bitcoin wallets, explained simply for, anyone starting out.
It's so important if you're new to Bitcoin, understanding wallets isn't just like a nice to know thing.
No, it's fundamental.
It really is the foundation of how you interact with it. Think of a Bitcoin wallet as the tool you use to manage and access your Bitcoin on the digital stage.
Exactly. Now, when you hear Bitcoin wallet, your mind might jump straight to like a digital version of your regular wallet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually a bit more nuanced, isn't it? Our sources clearly tell us a Bitcoin wallet does not store Bitcoin itself.
Right. That's the key confusion sometimes.
Rather, it stores the private keys needed to access and manage your Bitcoin on the blockchain.
And what's really interesting there is that the Bitcoin itself, it lives on this thing called the blockchain. You could imagine it like a giant, public, constantly updated spreadsheet that everyone can see, but no single person actually controls.
Okay.
Your wallet, it holds the secret codes, these private keys. They're like your personal password, basically.
Ah.
They prove you own a certain amount of Bitcoin, and crucially, they let you send it or receive it.
So instead of being the vault itself, it's more like the key to your personal spot in that digital vault.
Perfectly put, yeah.
And these wallets, they have some core jobs, right? They let you obviously handle your Bitcoin, send it, receive it.
The basics.
Plus, each wallet can create these unique addresses. Think of them as like your individual Bitcoin account numbers.
Sort of, yeah, like an email address for money, so people know where to send you funds.
Exactly.
And as we explore this a bit more, you'll see there's quite a variety of these digital key holders out there.
Right.
We're going to focus on the main split today. Hot wallets, which are basically software living online.
Versus cold wallets, which take an offline approach for, extra security.
And we'll touch on examples too, like mobile apps, computer programs.
Those specialized hardware things, yeah, we'll cover those.
And our mission today is pretty straightforward.
Right.
We want to equip you, our listener, with the essential knowledge, enough to choose the right kind of wallet for what you need.
And this is super important, how to keep your Bitcoin safe and secure.
Absolutely. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it. And to start, let's really nail down this idea of private keys. They are just absolutely fundamental.
Okay.
Like our source emphasizes, these keys are essential as they prove ownership of the Bitcoin and facilitate transactions.
Right. Without those keys,
You're stuck. It's like having a house but losing the only key you can't get and you can't prove it's yours.
Okay, that makes sense. And your wallet isn't just like passively holding these keys, is it?
No, it's actively communicating with this vast network of computers, the Bitcoin network.
That's how it knows your current balance and how it allows your transactions to get recorded on that big public ledger we mentioned, the blockchain.
Gotcha.
That's a really key point to understand. Your wallet is like the interface, It lets you interact with your Bitcoin on the blockchain.
It doesn't physically hold the coins.
Exactly. It's just your gateway to them. And most wallets, they come with some pretty useful features.
Totally.
Well, showing you a history of all your Bitcoin movements, ins and outs, and of course, your current balance.
Standard stuff you'd expect.
Yeah.
And to make sure only you can get into your wallet and access those, all important private keys.
Right.
Security.
Most wallets have built-in security measures, yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about things people probably already use, like passwords,
PIN codes.
even using your fingerprint or face recognition, biometrics, right?
Exactly, biometrics. But honestly, one of the most vital things for anyone owning Bitcoin to really grasp is the significance of backups.
Backups. Crucial. Think of it as having a spare key to that house we talked about. If your phone gets lost, or your computer crashes,
Or your hardware thingy breaks.
Precisely. Having a secure backup of your wallet is absolutely crucial. Otherwise, you could permanently lose access to your Bitcoin.
Okay, that's a scary thought. Definitely need backups. All right, so we've covered the basics. Now let's dive into the different kinds of Bitcoin wallets you can get.
Yeah.
The main division, like you said, is between hot and cold wallets. Let's start with hot wallets. What makes them hot?
Well, in essence, hot wallets are software-based, and this is the key thing, they are pretty much always connected to the internet.
Always online. Okay.
And this constant online connection is what makes them really convenient and easy to use for like day-to-day Bitcoin activities.
Like paying for something online, maybe.
Exactly. Or sending a small amount to a friend. quick stuff.
Right, that makes perfect sense. So, if you're planning to use your Bitcoin fairly regularly, a hot wallet probably offers that quick and easy access you'll want. And our source mentions a couple of common examples of these always connected wallets.
Yeah, exactly. Mobile wallets, the apps you download on your smartphone.
Yep, got plenty of those.
Those are a prime example of hot wallets, super handy for using Bitcoin on the go.
Makes sense.
And desktop wallets, the software you install on your actual computer, they also fall into this hot wallet category.
Okay, so hot wallets, convenience, online access, good for frequent, maybe smaller transactions.
Pretty much sums it up.
But what about the other side then, cold wallets? What sets them apart?
Okay, the fundamental difference with cold wallets is that they are offline.
Offline, completely.
Well, they store the private keys offline. This lack of a continuous internet connection provides a really significant boost in security against things like hacking and online threats.
Ah, okay.
Because your private keys aren't sitting on a device that's constantly connected to the internet, they are much, much less vulnerable to digital attacks.
So if you're holding, say, a larger amount of Bitcoin, or you're thinking about keeping it safe for the long term, like HO dealing.
Exactly. HO dealing.
A cold wallet sounds like the way to go for that extra peace of mind, right?
Definitely. It's generally recommended for larger amounts or long-term storage.
And what's the main type of cold wallet people should know about?
Our source specifically highlights hardware wallets as a leading example.
Hardware wallets, those are the physical things.
Yep. They're physical devices, often look like a small USB stick or a tiny calculator.
Okay.
They're specifically built just to store your private keys offline in a very secure way.
How do you use them then, if they're offline?
Good question. When you want to make a transaction, you typically connect the device to your computer or phone, but the crucial private keys themselves never leave the secure environment of that hardware wallet.
So the transaction gets signed on the device itself.
Precisely. It provides a very, very high level of security.
Okay, that sounds robust. And I think I saw paper wallets mentioned briefly earlier. Are those still a thing?
They are still around, yeah, though they might be considered a bit more advanced or maybe less user-friendly, especially for beginners.
Right.
A paper wallet basically involves printing out your public and private keys onto a piece of paper.
Literally paper.
Literally paper. As long as that paper is kept completely safe and, importantly, offline, it acts as a form of cold storage.
Right.
But using them for regular transactions can be a bit complicated, and you have to be extremely careful with the physical security of that piece of paper. Don't spill coffee on it, don't let it get stolen.
Yeah, okay. Maybe not ideal for everyday use. Got it. So we've got these different types: hot, convenient, online, cold, super secure, offline, each with pros and cons.
Exactly.
Now, the big question for you, our listener, is how do you figure out the right Bitcoin wallet for your specific needs?
That really is the key question, isn't it? And the answer is, well, it's quite personal.
It depends.
It really does. As our source wisely points out, there are several important factors you need to weigh up.
Such as? What are the main things people should be thinking about?
Well, first off, the amount of Bitcoin you intend to store. That's a major factor.
Right. Big difference between playing around with 50 quid's worth and storing your life savings.
Absolutely. If you're just starting out with a small amount, maybe just to learn the ropes, a convenient hot wallet, like a mobile app, might be perfectly adequate.
Okay.
However, if you find yourself holding a more significant investment, then the enhanced security of a cold wallet, like a hardware wallet, becomes much more important to seriously consider.
That makes perfect sense. It's like, keeping a bit of cash in your pocket versus putting your savings in a secure bank vault.
Exactly that analogy.
What else should people be thinking about?
How often you plan to actually use or access your Bitcoin. That's another crucial point.
Frequency of use.
Right. If you anticipate using Bitcoin for regular transactions, maybe buying coffee or whatever.
If you can find somewhere that takes it easily.
Yeah, true. But if you are using it regularly, the ease of use that hot wallets offer will likely be a top priority for you.
Makes sense. Less hassle.
But if you're primarily viewing Bitcoin as like a long-term store of value and you don't expect to move it around frequently.
The HODL approach again.
Right. Then the slightly more involved process of using a cold wallet might be a totally worthwhile trade-off for that significantly added security.
So it's really about finding that sweet spot, that balance between how easy it is to use and how secure it actually is.
Precisely. And your individual comfort level with security. That's key too.
What do you mean by that?
Well, how comfortable are you managing software, online accounts, security procedures in general? Are you someone who's usually very security conscious?
Or someone who maybe reuses passwords everywhere. Don't do that, by the way.
Please don't. But yeah, those personal preferences will play a role in whether you lean towards the convenience of a hot wallet or the more robust security of a cold one.
Yeah, and I imagine ease of use is a big one for newcomers, right?
Oh, absolutely.
No one wants a wallet that's so complicated they're scared to even touch their Bitcoin.
Definitely not. For people just starting out, using a really user-friendly hot wallet, maybe a well-regarded mobile app, can be a great way to just get comfortable with the fundamentals. Send a little, receive a little.
Get the feel for it.
Exactly. You can always consider upgrading to a more secure cold storage solution later on, if and when your Bitcoin holdings grow or your needs change.
So the key takeaway here seems to be there's no single best wallet for absolutely everyone.
Not at all.
You really need to think carefully about how you plan to use your Bitcoin and what level of security you feel you need for the amount you hold.
That's it. And our source also really emphasizes the importance of doing your own research, right?
Homework time.
Yes, doing your homework is absolutely essential before picking one. Take the time to look into the specific features. Does it have the things you need?
And the security measures different wallets offer. You mentioned two-factor authentication earlier.
Exactly. Does it offer 2FA? What other security features does it have? Also, read reviews from other users. See what their experiences have been like.
Good idea. See what the community thinks.
Yeah, and check the reputation of the wallet provider itself within the Bitcoin community. You want to make sure you're choosing a provider that's trustworthy and has a good, solid track record.
Makes sense. You're trusting them with access to your keys, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And just a quick reminder for everyone listening, while our focus today is firmly on Bitcoin, if you do plan to explore other cryptocurrencies down the line, you'll need to make sure that the wallet you choose actually supports those as well.
Good point. Compatibility matters if you branch out. But yeah, for this deep dive, Bitcoin is our main focus.
Okay.
Now, let's say you've done your research, you've picked a wallet that fits your needs. Your work isn't quite finished yet, is it?
Nope. Now comes the ongoing part. Security.
Exactly. You need to be proactive about security. Think of these next points as crucial security best practices, things you really should be doing to safeguard your investment.
Okay, let's run through some of these vital steps. First on the list from our source, keeping your wallet software up to date. Why is that so important?
Well, just like any piece of software, your phone's OS, your browser, Bitcoin wallets, can sometimes have potential security weaknesses discovered.
Bugs happen.
Bugs happen. Developers regularly release updates that include patches to fix these vulnerabilities. So, by making sure your wallet software is always up to date, you're ensuring you have the latest protections against potential threats.
Makes perfect sense.
Huh.
Standard software hygiene, really. Just like updating apps on your phone. What's the next essential security practice?
Using strong and unique passwords. This is absolutely critical.
We mentioned it briefly, but yeah, it's huge.
It really is. Avoid using the same password across multiple online accounts. If one gets compromised, they all could be.
Nightmare scenario.
And make sure your passwords are complex enough long mix of characters to be very difficult for someone, or some bot, to guess. Our source also recommends changing your passwords periodically. That's another layer.
Good advice. Another piece of common sense security that can be surprisingly easy to overlook sometimes. What about adding like an extra layer of protection?
Two-factor authentication, often shortened to 2FA. This is an excellent way to boost your security.
How does that work with a wallet, typically?
When you enable 2FA, even if someone were to somehow get hold of your password, maybe through a data breach elsewhere, they would still need a second piece of information to get it.
Like a code from your phone?
Usually, yeah. A code generated by an authenticator app on your phone, or sometimes sent via SMS, although app-based is generally considered more secure.
Okay.
This significantly reduces the risk of unauthorized access. If it's offered, definitely use it.
That definitely sounds like a must-do for anyone serious about keeping their Bitcoin safe. What other important practices does our source highlight?
Backups. We touched on this earlier, but it's so incredibly important. It's worth repeating loud and clear.
Right.
Back up your wallet regularly.
Especially that recovery phrase or seed phrase they give you, right?
Exactly. That seed phrase is often the master key to regenerating your entire wallet. Keep it incredibly safe. And equally important is where you store those backups.
Right. Not just on the same device.
Definitely not. They should be in secure locations, ideally physically separate from your primary device, maybe multiple locations.
Like
Consider using, say, an encrypted external hard drive stored securely, or maybe even just writing down the seed phrase carefully and storing it somewhere fireproof and safe. Some people use secure cloud storage, but be very careful with the encryption if you do that.
Okay. So the idea is if your main phone gets lost or stolen, or your computer dies completely.
You can still recover your wallet and, crucially, your Bitcoin using that backup, that seed phrase.
Okay. Very important. And finally, what's the last key security tip from our source?
Be extremely cautious of phishing attempts. These are scams, basically.
Like trying to trick you.
Exactly. They're designed to trick you into revealing your private keys, your seed phrase, or your login information.
How do they usually do that? Fake emails, fake websites.
All of the above. Emails that look like they're from your wallet provider but aren't. Fake login pages, suspicious links. You have to be vigilant.
So, rule of thumb.
Only download wallet software from trusted, official sources. Going directly to the official website of the wallet provider is always the safest bet. Be very wary of unsolicited emails or messages asking for your details.
If something seems too good to be true.
It almost certainly is. Trust your gut. Double-check URLs. Be skeptical.
Solid advice. And I think the overarching message weaving through all of this security stuff is the absolute critical importance of understanding and securely storing those private keys or that seed phrase.
Totally. They are literally the keys to your Bitcoin kingdom. You need to handle them with the utmost care and secrecy.
Never share them.
Never, ever share your private keys or your seed phrase with anyone you don't trust implicitly, which should be almost no one. Take every necessary precaution to keep them safe and secure offline, if possible.
Okay, wow. That was a lot, but really important stuff. Let's try and bring it all together then.
Yeah, let's summarize.
We've taken a good deep dive into the world of Bitcoin wallets.
Yeah.
Aimed squarely at beginners. The main points to remember are pretty clear, I think. Firstly, a Bitcoin wallet is a vital tool for managing your Bitcoin. But key point, it doesn't actually hold the Bitcoin itself.
Right. It holds the keys. Specifically, it securely stores the private keys that allow you to actually access your Bitcoin and make transactions on the blockchain.
And as we've discussed, there are different types of wallets out there. The main split is between hot wallets,
which offer convenience by being online, good for everyday use,
and cold wallets,
which provide much stronger security by operating offline, better for larger amounts or long-term storage, like hardware wallets.
In choosing the right wallet, it really boils down to your individual needs, doesn't it?
Absolutely. How much you're storing, how often you'll use it, your comfort with security, it all plays a part.
And regardless of the type of wallet you choose in the end, prioritizing security is just non-negotiable.
Completely essential. That means keeping your software up to date, using strong, unique passwords, enabling two-factor authentication whenever you possibly can.
Backing up your wallet, especially that seed phrase securely, and storing those backups safely.
And staying super vigilant against those phishing scams and fake websites.
Right.
Precisely. By understanding these fundamental concepts and actually putting these best practices into action, you, our listener, can navigate the world of Bitcoin with hopefully much greater confidence and a much stronger sense of security.
Yeah, definitely. So now that you've hopefully got a good handle on Bitcoin wallets, you really are one significant step closer to truly owning and managing your digital assets safely.
It's a big first step.
It really is. We genuinely hope this deep dive has been helpful for you as you continue to explore the often exciting, sometimes confusing world of cryptocurrency.
Hope so.
And hey, if you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. We do read them.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're always looking for ideas for future deep dives into all things Bitcoin and crypto, especially for beginners. So let us know what topics you'd like us to explore next.
Your suggestions help shape what we cover.
Definitely. This is just the beginning of understanding this fascinating technology, and we're excited to explore more with you.